Have you ever seen a hose clamp like this? It's probably been used for 100 years, but it is brand new to me. I needed to clamp a hose in a hurry, but I was clampless. I learned about this safety wire hose clamp and fell in love, and I decided to buy a tool. Unfortunately, I couldn't find one in town, and it was a couple days away on Amazon. Looking at the photo, I decided I could make that. Hey Garage Fabbers, if this video looks like a filler episode that was slapped together at the last minute, that's because this is a filler episode that was slapped together at the last minute. I launched a merch store last week and holy crap, you guys are amazing. Long story short, I've been packing and shipping and making shirts all week, so I haven't really had much time in the garage. I was gonna put my thank yous at the end of this video, but I want my appreciation to be seen right up front. I say it often, but still not enough. Garage Fab viewers are the highest quality people out there. If you missed the episode where I announced the GarageFab.tv store was opening, in it I mentioned I spent my money on cinnamon air fresheners that were really quite unpleasant. Can you guess what the top selling air fresheners were? Drum roll please. Cinnamon. Some folks bought nothing but cinnamon air fowlers and paid a ridiculous amount in shipping for them. Side note, I don't know where I went wrong while setting up the store and the shipping calculations, but my sincere apologies. It was not my intention to charge a month's rent to ship a hat and a shirt, and I will be addressing it. But that alone shows the kindness I saw. Some of you bought nothing but nasty air fresheners and paid more for shipping than for the crappy product itself. That is pure charity, and I can't explain how much that means to me. Thank you. To start, I need a tube with a long bolt that would fit snugly inside. What I found was a tube with a bolt that nearly fit inside and a drill bit. A lathe would be the best tool for this project, but I don't have one. So we'll use the next best thing. I considered cutting the head off of this bolt, but decided to just shrink the head down to make a spot to drill through for the roll pin later on. I don't know why, but I envisioned getting a drill bit started on threads would have been really frustrating. But now I'll never know. I'm going to make the tip of this tool from some solid round bar. Back in the hand lathe. Rather than butting the tip up against the tube, I thought it would be easier to weld on if I could make it fit tightly inside the tube. I was using a really coarse flap disc to shape the point, so I needed to smooth things out with finer and finer abrasives.
So this is going to get welded into this pipe right on the seam, but I think I'm going to wait a little bit because this is actually a pry tool of sorts, but it doesn't seem like it's going to need to be welded in order to do the prying that it needs to do. It seems to be fine. By not welding it yet, I'll be able to turn this, which you'll be able to see later why that's going to matter, and I can make sure that this is shaped properly. Meaning I should be able to assemble this entire thing, use it, and then once I confirm that it works properly, then I can weld it up and clean it up and make it look nice.
If you look at the tool that I'm copying, you'll see some slots on the side that a roll pin slides in. I'm going to make those carefully with a cutoff wheel. They look like they were made with a cutoff wheel though, so I'll smooth them out with a tiny file. You can't tell in this photo, but thanks to a YouTube video of someone using one of these, I learned there's a small notch in the tip of this thing that the wire sits in. Another job for a different tiny file. This part of the whole project is only necessary if you have pride. Cleaning up the tubing will make the whole thing look more finished and less homemade.
Ow!
I mentioned earlier that turning the tip would be handy, and here's why. It'll let me perfectly align the pins before attaching the tip permanently.
Well, this is pretty much it. There's two problems that I can see that may not matter. I'm going to try it out first. One is how far apart these pins are. This wing nut is adjusted all the way out, and this doesn't quite reach the bottom, which just makes this gap really big. I don't really think that's an issue. It just means that you have to use more wire, so it's just more waste, but not that big a deal. I only have inch-long roll pins right now. It seems like this might not be enough, but maybe it will, because you'll see how this gets wrapped around these. It doesn't need a whole lot, but that's changeable. I think just as far as this gap right here goes, I'm just going to trim off a little bit on this tube on both ends, right there and right there. Then I'll get the full adjustment out of here. But I'm going to try this as is first and see if we can find any other problems. So far, it's looking pretty good.
For this test run, I'll spare you the amount of time it took me to figure it out. I've never used one of these before, and it didn't go exactly smoothly. I'll explain the how-to a little bit better later.
I was pretty happy with how it worked on the first one, but as I mentioned, I decided to trim the body just a little bit so that these pins are a little closer together. I already did that, and then one other thing I wanted to do is I had to hold this thing really tight with my hand, and that got really uncomfortable with these pins. So I think there should be like a second wing nut. I'm gonna get another wing nut that's quite a bit bigger that'll fit over the body, and I think probably what I'll do is I'll put them butt to butt. So there will be a larger wing nut facing this direction that's actually welded to the body, and then this wing nut that attaches to the threads. That way I have something to hold to keep the whole thing from turning while I turn the other wing nut. I only have one wing nut though, so I can't really show you, but cool look anyways. Then there'll be another wing nut facing the opposite direction. And then the one other thing I decided to change was I created this channel for weld. I was gonna fill that up with weld, smooth it all out, but I think I changed my mind a little bit. I can see the end of the tip in there, so I'm just gonna put a little spot weld right in there, fill that up, and I'm gonna leave this channel because when it came time to snipping the wire, it was kind of hard to get this in there. And then I was able to get the tip of my cutters right in that channel. It was totally not meant for that, but I think it's a really cool little addition that I'm gonna add to this. Or it's already there. I don't have to add anything. For those of you that use air hoses on a regular basis and maybe one crack starts leaking, you burn a hole in it, you drop something on it, save the ends, man. I save all these. When the hose is done and it's time to just throw it away, I just snip off the end, because this fitting in here that you may not even realize is in here is freaking great. It's the perfect thing to hoard. Got a nice little barbed fitting that you can reuse. I nicked it a little bit. Hopefully that'll be okay. It should be. It should be all right.
All right, here's the play-by-play I promised. You start with a length of wire about a foot long and fold it in half. The loop needs to be wide enough for the tip of the tool. Wrap it around the hose, Tuck the loose ends under the loop and pull it tight. Wrap it around again. Tuck it again. And pull it tight again. I think you can do a third wrap, but I haven't tried that yet. Push the tip of the tool into the loop so that the wire seats nicely into that notch. Route the wires over the top of the first roll pin and under the second roll pin, and then back up over the body. Twist the wires together and you're ready to roll. It takes a moment to situate the wires so they're not crossing over each other and they look nice and organized. Start tightening up the wing nut until the wire starts to pull into the hose. If it looks good, pry the whole tool over, which will fold the wire and lock the clamp into place. You can untwist the wire to free the tool or just snip the wires. Trim the ends short and tap them down.
Now what I like to do is put a piece of electrical shrink wrap on top of that. This little piece right here can snag your skin or your clothes and stuff like that. You put a little piece of shrink wrap on there and it's fine. I mean, if you squeeze it in there really good into the hose, it's probably not going to catch on anything, but I mean, a little piece of shrink wrap certainly doesn't hurt and it looks a hell of a lot better. But I don't have any. And this is going under the bench, so this is going to go in just like this.
That's it for this one, my friends. Back to the regular content next week. I've got a cool new shop upgrade that I'm super excited to share. Thank you again for all your support. For those that visited the shop at garagefab.tv and were deterred by the outrageous shipping costs, check it out again and see if you approve yet. I'll get it figured out, I promise. Again, I appreciate you, my friends. Your support is making it possible for me to focus on Garage Fab just a little bit longer. Have a fantastic week, my friends, and keep moving forward.